In October, we decided that the European Union would cover Ukraine's pressing financial needs for 2026 and 2027. Last week, we decided that Russia would not get its assets back until Moscow ends its aggression. Today, we approved a decision to provide 90 billion euros to Ukraine for the next 2 years.
Yeah. I have very mixed feelings, to be said. I mean, on the one hand, the result is good. The money is critical for Ukraine. Without the loan, they would have faced an economic collapse early next year. But the fact that the EU couldn't agree to use the frozen Russian assets is deeply concerning from my perspective. I think instead of making the aggressor pay, the burden now falls on European taxpayers. So that's not just unfair, it's also a signal of weakness at a time when Europe needs and actually wanted to show geopolitical strength. You mentioned, I guess you referred to the German Chancellor Merz. He actually said we should use it, and he also failed. So this is not a good sign in this regard. So if you take this from the question that Europe wanted to become more independent, more sovereign, not depending on the US, decoupling from China and Russia, of course, they wanted to be seen as a European powerhouse in geopolitical action level, and they failed in a way. So of course, Ukraine needed this money to survive and defend itself, and that's non-negotiable. But morally speaking, that's hard to swallow, I would say. Europe couldn't muster the courage to tap the aggressor's frozen assets, and instead European taxpayers now foot the bill. So it's a compromise born of fear, not strength, and that will not go unnoticed, neither in Kiev nor in Moscow. So there will be two tranches, one early next year, 45 billion euros to Ukraine, and the other one at the beginning of 2027. So in this regard, it's also changing the calculus of Putin in Moscow, how long Ukraine can survive this war. But using the Russian assets would have been even a stronger signal in this regard. And in a way, we are in a kind of a red race here. So who's surviving longer? So reports from inside Russia are not really promising. Putin was just giving this big Q&A with his citizens yesterday, and although all these questions had been staged, so we know that many citizens also published their questions, and there were, I think the Russians said, more than 2 million collected. They also published them online on social media, and there you can see a tendency that people are more and more complaining about situations, that the economic situation in Russia for Russian citizens is worsening, and in this regard there is something happening on the Russian side. The question is how fast actually the situation will change and maybe also lead to some adjustment of Putin's strategy.